Welcome to the Merch Minds podcast, where we discuss everything about the Merch by Amazon business and the print-on-demand industry. Here are your hosts, Glenn and Young.
Are you coming up short on design ideas? Are you tired of going back and forth with your designer on Upwork and Fiverr? Well, I have a solution for you. DesignCandy.io. They're a professional design agency that offers quality shirt designs for just $10 a pop. You don't have to worry about coming up with niche ideas. All you have to do is just pay the monthly subscription of $20, and then the designs are just $10 each. I personally use them. I like the designs. I use the designs. And you know what? You get top quality customer service. So if you want some good quality designs, head over to DesignCandy.io right now. Mention Merch Minds and you'll get 2 free designs when you sign up.
Merch Informer is the #1 research program for Merch by Amazon. You can do niche research by BSRs, keywords, and even by merchant brand names at your fingertips. You can explore historical data to see exactly what strategies the top sellers are using to succeed. Merch Informer was designed to help streamline your research process and help organize your ideas. Head over to merchinformer.com for a free 3-day trial, and after that, it's just $19.99 per month. Use the coupon code MERCHMINDS for 15% off the entire order. Merch Minds podcast, episode number 49. My name is Glenn. I have a YouTube channel, Hustler Hacks. This is Young.
Hey, what's going on, man?
And another week of merch, sales, royalties. We're going to break all of this stuff down and how much Young has been making lately, right?
Me? What about you?
And
why is always the pressure on me?
Oh, I just wanted to see what was going on because apparently you've been doing pretty good, I would think. This and Etsy combination.
You would think.
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken. The bad boy of the podcast isn't doing good anymore then apparently, guys.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we can definitely talk about it. That's for sure. So I'm assuming you want to talk about the numbers. Yeah, so this month, as of now, it's not looking too good on merch. And when I say looking too, I mean,
it's looking grim.
Considering how many shirts live that I have, I mean, it's great. But compared to previous months, it's not going to be as good. So this might be the first month in a while where I don't break the 3K mark. So let's go over my numbers here. I'm still at the 1,000th here. I have 384 shirts live. In the last 7 days, I sold 117 shirts for an estimated royalty for $748.53. So at this pace, I might finish the month somewhere around $2,600 to $2,800. However, there is the Etsy account now, and that's been bringing in some income as well. So overall, I'll still break the 3K mark.
Yeah, with both of them combined now.
Both of them combined, but definitely the numbers on merch have declined. And, that's partially my fault because I've been focusing so much on Etsy that I haven't really uploaded many shirts on merch.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but you know what? Q4 is right around the corner, and I know for a fact those numbers on merch will pick up. I mean, if last December, if that has any, if that happens again and merch doesn't run out of sizes and colors and all that, December is going to be a good month.
Yeah. And I think, so when I came back, I think from the conference, I know me and you were talking about what we're going to do next or what we want to do as far as like merch goes. And my whole thing was like coming up with ideas. So I've just been like in idea mode right now, trying to just like a whole list. I have my like niche list, but now I'm just trying to break that down even further. Like, different ideas, slogans and all that stuff, going through trademarks, seeing what's good. And then from there, I'm gonna see what I can do. I really want to get as many shirts as possible, especially for Q4. I've been adding in some shirts, like, you know, here and now. Like, I think I did 10 the other day, like another 5, and then I did like another, I think like another 5, like another day. So I'm trying to add in a little bit as we go along, because I was like dry for like 2 or 3 straight weeks, to where, like, you remember how we talked about going to the conference and all that? We didn't really upload. At least I know I didn't. I wasn't really uploading anything. So once I started uploading again, it's like I saw my numbers like starting to go back up, which I think someone had, like, you know, one of those we talked about in the past too, like conspiracy theories on how like, where you, if you start like uploading shirts, if you do it daily, like somehow like your numbers start going up. Yeah, like, I mean, I really have no clue, but it seemed like it was somewhat helping for a little while, and I was like, all right, cool. You know, I had like, finally I was back up to like the 5 sales a day, and then I went down, but it wasn't like a whole lot. And like, so the numbers have been slowly going back up. Today has been random. Like, I only have like 4 sales today, which is really low. Like, I don't know what's going on. But the last couple of days it's been good, and then today just went back down. So last 7 days, 134 products sold, and estimated royalties, I'm at $665.36. So I think it's probably going to be around the same thing, like you said, around 26 to 2,800 range, I think.
Oh snap! What?
I know.
well, so yeah, I mean, so like you mentioned earlier, so we were talking, and I don't know if this is something that I should say publicly, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's not anything bad, but when I was talking to you a few days ago, I kind of got the feeling like you really weren't interested in merch anymore. Is that the case, man?
Well, when I talked to people at the conference, you know, a lot of people were asking me like, "Oh, you know, what have you been doing, or adding anything new, or doing anything different?" And everything like that. And some people, I think it's kind of funny, because some people are like, "I've already surpassed you, like in amount I have live, and I made this and this amount last month," and they're like, "You know, I've been watching your videos, you know what, like a year ago, and you were doing this and this." And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm also now trying to do like public speaking and going out of town." So my thing has have kind of changed. And yeah, when you talked to me, I was also kind of like, it was a mixture between so busy working on other stuff and being like a little pissed off, that I was just kind of like, all right, well, whatever, you know, what the merch stuff. And I was like, yes, I'm getting to it, and we'll see what happens. And I was just like, not really in merch mode. And
yeah, and I didn't want to say anything at the time, man. I felt like you were like losing your mojo there. You know,
yeah,
I was like, yo, man, what's going on? I'm like,
and even when I was coming with with ideas, because I've been writing ideas like on my board, like how many more ideas do we need? Like how many different variations should I get? And trying to get my numbers up, especially for Q4. And when I was doing it, I was like, man, like, how come I'm feeling this way? Like, this point last year, I was like in a totally different mindset. Like, I just felt, I guess, different about it, about merch. And then now, like a whole year later, it's like, I of course I still like it, but I felt totally different about it. I don't know, maybe because I have been having a lot of fun doing a lot of the YouTube videos, and doing like doing the traveling stuff, that maybe just my mind wasn't even there. So now that I've been kind of getting into it and designing more, like, I feel like I'm back, but I just need to get just 100% back into that mode. I was doing like 100 designs a week, you know, like a year ago, and getting all of that done, and numbers were growing. And then I just kind of like, you know.
yeah, but when you were doing 100 designs a week, I mean, you even said those designs, you know, they weren't the greatest, right?
Oh, well, I wasn't spending a lot of time on them.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Well, dude, if you want, man, I can go to El Paso and just slap you around a little bit. You get out of your funk there, buddy.
I know. I need to get my numbers up, more designs up, and it's pretty much what it's gonna be like my main focus. And I really like made time for it this time, because doing the YouTube videos and this with eBay was kind of like a little weird when I came back. So I made sure that for the next like 3 weeks, like I'm set on YouTube to where I don't have to edit or come out with anything, so that I can really like switch the focus back onto merch, so that now I have like, I can figure out the game plan. Because once I have the ideas, remember we talked about like some of the outsourcing stuff. That's why I really want to figure that out now. Okay, well, if I can outsource some of the designs and still do some for myself, can I really like get way more and get all those ready and set for Q4? Because it's coming up quickly, but as long as you're good by the time of like, I mean, even on FBA days from like mid-November to the end of December, or even like December, like 20th or something is usually like the cutoff date where people get, worried for Christmas. But that's like the main time where you're going to see, of course, a lot of money coming through. And then last year I was like $300 short of 10 grand for the month. So I really need to get, as many designs up possible. Even they don't have to be the greatest designs ever. As long as I'm filling up my tier and getting closer and closer to 8,000, but it is super tough.
Okay, well, look. Are you losing your mojo or not? Just answer that.
I was, but I'm back.
You back? Okay, that's what we like to hear.
Yeah,
Glenn got his groove back. Glenn got his groove back. That's good to hear, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Again, guys, in 2 weeks, Glenn and I we're gonna be in Denver for a meetup / seminar. We're almost sold out. I think we have like 2 slots left.
Yeah.
If you guys want to go, I mean, literally, you guys, I would say just register now, because it's gonna sell out. So,
and I've been getting questions on. Well, this is kind of funny, but there've been people that don't care about merch, and they're like, "Can I just hang out and talk about like eBay stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, we can talk about whatever you want on like the free hangout part, but seminar is 100% merch, so nothing to do with Ross Finds or eBay."
And you're getting there Friday morning on the day of the talk.
Yeah.
And then you're flying out Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there from Thursday to Monday. Margaret, who also does eBay, she's gonna be there from Thursday to Sunday. So if you guys want to talk eBay, just come on out. You guys can talk to any of us about eBay, because we all do eBay. I'm not that big on eBay these days, but I do still sell on eBay. You just can't come to the talk, obviously. So, well, hey, I'll play security, man. I'll toss people out.
Young's one of the like originators of eBay.
Yeah, man, dude, I had my account since 97 or 98, something like that. I can't remember.
I was like 10.
Oh, jeez. Hey, you know what? Okay, you know what? Change the subject.
All right, go ahead.
So yeah, but hey, we have an awesome guest.
Oh man, super awesome guest.
Awesome guest. You guys are really gonna enjoy this week's guest. I'm glad he finally came on the show. We've been trying to get this guy for since May. Vaughn Glitschka. If you guys recognize the name, it's because he's all over the place. He's on YouTube. He's a best-selling author. He has courses on lynda.com and LinkedIn. Man,
and he was brought up in the Seattle conference. Remember we?
Yeah, he's from the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Seattle area. So this is, in my opinion, probably one of the best episodes, because he tells so many stories, and oh gosh, I mean, we could have talked to him for hours more, but obviously, he's busy, so we kept the interview short. But yeah, let's get into it. Here is Vaughn Glitschka. Today, I'm really excited about our guest. He's someone that I follow, I respect, and I look up to in the design community. We have the very talented Vaughn Glitschka. Did I pronounce that right, Vaughn?
Yeah, it just looks hard.
What was that?
It just looks hard.
It just looks hard. Yeah. I see your name all the time, and I swear, man, sometimes I feel like I'm not pronouncing it right. But I just want to introduce you. I got some really, really nice words. Vaughn is a very talented designer. He's an artist, he's an author, and he's a teacher. Some of you guys might recognize his name because, like I mentioned, he's written books, but he also has numerous courses online. His courses can be found on lynda.com and LinkedIn. He's also a popular speaker. He's given talks at conferences and events such as TED Talks. And let me tell you, you know you're big time when you get invited to a TED Talk. All right? So Vaughn's a superstar. If you guys ever get an opportunity to see Vaughn speak in person, I highly recommend it. You're going to learn a lot, and he's hilarious. We met at the Creative Pro Week in Atlanta back in May, Vaughn. I had asked you to come onto the podcast, and you agreed. But the timing was kind of off because I know you're obviously busy. And when I got back home, I sent you an email, and then we just kind of lost touch. And then 2 weeks ago, Vaughn, Glenn and I, we were at another conference up in Seattle. And your name was brought up as someone who's an influencer in the design community. And that was a good reminder for me to reach out to you again. And sure enough, we finally have him. Welcome to the show, Vaughn.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. So the conference you're at in Seattle, is that the Design Family Reunion by any chance?
No, it was the Merch by Amazon conference.
Okay.
Yeah, so the big thing so the big business these days is the whole print on demand, uploading your designs and then having third party companies like, Cafe Press and all that fulfill your shipments. Yeah. And Amazon.com right now, they're the big guns right now. They're making people a lot of money. So it was a conference for that. Vaughn, before we continue, man, how are the fires in Oregon? Are they contained at all?
Yeah, it's been raining the past 2 or 3 days, so we don't have the smoke in the air anymore. So
okay, good.
I'm not sure if they're all out. Well, it all depends where it rains, I guess. So
yeah, man. I had a friend message me a couple of weeks ago, and I was just bummed out when he told me that. It's so beautiful up there. So Vaughn, could you give us a background on your career in design and how you got started?
Sure. I originally wanted to go into the film industry, and it was before the internet. And when I asked the career counselor in high school, basically she said she'd look into it, and came back like a week later and said she couldn't find anything. And it was that next week that somebody from was called the Burnley School of Art at that time. They're in Seattle. They came by and they showed basically a student portfolio of work. And I'm going, I wouldn't mind doing that. And so that's kind of where I went. I went to, actually right when I started, they had just been sold to the Art Institutes. So it kind of morphed into Seattle Art Institute the 2 years I was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
I graduated from there in a long time ago, 1986 to be exact. And I worked for other people for about, I'd say 15 years, and then have been working on my own for the last 15 years.
Nice. So who were some of your influences?
A big one for me was a designer out of the UK by the name of Neville Brody. I don't know if you're familiar with him. No, if you saw the body of his work, you'd recognize it. He was a big influence on me. He was one of the first designers that kind of really picked up on digital and moved forward with it. And that's what really kind of made me interested in the early 90s to when I first started working digitally. I used freehand until Adobe bought it and killed it. So I actually this year I've been using Illustrator the same amount of time that I use freehand. And the only difference is Illustrator just crashes a whole lot more.
Oh man. So you talked a little bit about film. You started off on film, and then you got into like art and design. Did anybody ever try to kind of like convince you out of the whole art thing? I feel that, especially now, art and art majors are kind of like this target where like you're not gonna make much in art and all this. Did anybody try to like talk you out of that, or you just knew you just had like this natural talent?
Well, I knew I wanted to do something creative. I always grew up enjoying that. My mom's an artist, not a designer, but art-minded, and both her and my dad always encouraged me. They didn't. In that respect, I'm a little lucky because one dynamic of doing design courses for LinkedIn Learning and Linda is that I'll get contacted by people out of the blue, and a lot of those people have been people who always wanted to go into that, but their dad might have pulled them aside and said, you need to find a real job. And so they went down another avenue, and now they're 40 years old and they want to do a career change and they're jumping into it. And the nice thing I always tell them about this career is you're never really too old to jump into it, as opposed to other careers that are more tied to, your abilities at certain ages. The nice thing about a designer is technically the older they get, the better they should be getting. And so that's the one nice thing is every now and then I'll think of some piece of artwork. I'll go, oh, I need to go back, and I'll look through my archive, find some file, open it up, and I'll open it up and I'll look at it and I go, why did I build it this way? It's like, I'll just go, this absolutely sucks. And so I think that's the whole reason I'm bringing that up is you're always going to improve and get better. I can look at things I did, 7 years ago, and they kind of make me cringe now. So I think that's natural, but I've always tried to, when I went to art school, it was before social media, and there's so many opportunities for young designers to plug in here and there and get information and feedback. And, I really didn't have any of that. And I tried to plug in with a couple art directors when I got out of school, and they made it sound like they wanted to do that when they reviewed my portfolio. But then when it came down to actually doing it, they had never returned phone calls. I had some bad experiences too. When I graduated, I interviewed at an ad agency because I originally wanted to plug into advertising because I like the whole idea of developing campaigns and the thinking behind it. And so I interviewed at this ad agency in downtown Seattle. The guy liked my book, and he said, well, we're going to do a test project through you. Here's a project we're working on. It was a food product. I don't even remember the name, but keep in mind, this is before the internet, before Federal Express. So I had to go home, work on these comps, marker comps, and I developed these ads, and then I shipped it to the agency, and I never heard back from them. And I called, they never returned my phone call, and then like 3 or 4 months later, I see these ads come out, and it looks like my comps.
Oh.
And as soon as that happened, I was like, I don't know if I want to get into advertising if it's that cutthroat. So
right.
I kind of shifted and tried to find a job for just a boutique design firm.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a crazy story. And it's funny that you brought up, social media. If you want to follow Vaughn, it's Vonster on Twitter, which is an awesome name.
Thanks.
But looking on Twitter and YouTube, you have some videos, of course, on your channel, Instagram. How important is social media for your studios, and which is your favorite platform to use?
Probably my favorite platform is Twitter. I mean, a friend of mine, Gideon, he runs a company called Icon Factory, and they developed Twitterific, the Twitter app. And it was one of the first Twitter apps that came out. And so as soon as they started developing that, he sent me an email. This goes back over 10 years now. And he said, hey, this Twitter thing's going to explode. You need to jump onto it. And I tried it for like about a week, and I'm going, I don't know if I really get it. No, hardly anybody was on Twitter at that point. But after about 4 months, I tried it again. I've been on it ever since. And so that's probably my favorite one. I don't know. I like they say the necessity is the mother of invention. So I like the fact that it constricts characters. So you have to really think out what you want to say in a, encapsulated format. So I like coming up with witty little things. Or, I used to tell people that when I worked with employees, I work with my daughter now, but when I worked inside an agency and there was other employees around me, things would cross my mind as you're working on this or that, and I would just kind of spout it off. And in essence, that's kind of what Twitter is for me. It's like I do the same thing now, but I just don't have coworkers. I'm just tweeting those thoughts. Mm-hmm. And so I'm kind of all over the map. And there's a lot of social media experts that say, if you're using it for your business, stay professional. And I violate that all the time. I don't necessarily agree with it, especially in a creative environment. I don't think that's so much the case.
Yeah.
If you're a brand like Amazon, you're not going to be posting memes and stuff.
Exactly.
I realize that. Yeah.
Vaughn, you mentioned that you work with your daughter. I'm just curious, how old is she? Because to me, you don't look that old, and I'm just kind of really surprised now. Because you're saying that you're working with your daughter, and I'm thinking your daughter's got to be like 12 or something.
No, she's 22 now.
Okay. Well, my gosh, man, dude, you look amazing.
She's gonna get mad at me. She's 23.
Gosh, no, seriously. I'm not going to ask how old you are, but to me, I thought you were relatively young. But that's amazing. So Vaughn, so here's the problem with the whole print-on-demand business. So people with no design background, they're getting into the business, and to make money, of course, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's fair to say that it's good to learn the basic fundamentals of design so they can better communicate with their designers. So if there's one thing that they should learn about design, what should that be?
Well, if they didn't create it and they want to use it, they need to get permission. I say that because I've had a lot of artwork over the years, and it's been used within a lot of those venues like Redbubble or Zazzle. And Zazzle was a client of mine about 5 years ago, and I did some work for him. And I used to have a Zazzle account, but they actually removed one of these designs I did and was selling on there. And they said they removed it because it was infringing on a copyright. And I said, that's mine. I drew it.
Yeah, I'm the one that made it. Yeah.
It's like, I can't infringe on my own copyright. What are you talking about? And it's like, they're just so like not wanting to communicate one-on-one that they just said, I couldn't get through to anybody to listen to me. And so I said, okay, this is ridiculous. I just pulled everything down. I said, I'm done with you guys. I'm not going to use you anymore.
That's definitely one of the issues that we're having with Amazon is there's communication with Amazon, but it's not that good. And because the program is relatively young, I'm sure improvements will be made, but that's one of the biggest complaints right now is that the communication with Amazon is really difficult.
I think a good. Let me ask you a question. You can tell me if I understand this correctly. So much like eBay, you can create products and post it and sell it through eBay and make money. You can do the same thing now on Amazon.
Yeah. So Amazon it's about 2 years old now. It's a program they call it Merch by Amazon.
Okay.
You basically, you have a design, you upload it to their platform, And when a customer buys it, Amazon will ship it. They'll
On a shirt.
On a shirt for now.
Yeah.
They'll ship it. They'll take care of all the customer service, and you just get a royalty. But it's making people a lot of money because Amazon is obviously the king of e-commerce. Yeah. And there's tons of traffic going through Amazon, and
they're actually doing the printing and stuff. I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, I'll send you a link after the show. You can look into it. But people are making a fortune. It's amazing. But at the same time, Glenn and I, we go on Amazon and we see some shirts and they're just, the designs are just awful, and it's just just one of those things where we're like, oh gosh, if they should hire a better designer.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, all I was going to say is notoriously, like the first job I got out of art school was working for a screen printer. And so I've always enjoyed doing like t-shirt designs over the years. I just like the format. It's like art for the masses is kind of what I think of t-shirts. But that whole market, if you want to find, it's so many t-shirt shop owners are just absolutely like have no scruples about just lifting this and that and using it or seeing some common trend and jumping on it just to capitalize on profits.
Oh, yeah.
And when it comes to print on demand, that's an easy move for them because it's even less overhead for them to deal with that. But in terms, and what I've always seen is works really well for a screen printer, and there's been a couple over the years I've worked with where they hire me to create a design. I come up with some flat rate, so they always know this is how much to create the design, and then we have some agreement on a quarterly royalty based off of sales. And it's, I don't know, that hasn't always happened, but I always try to set stuff up like that. But so if somebody is selling shirts and they're trying to improve on design, I would say rather than making that something that person needs to do, unless they're just a one-person shop, is just to find a creative who you can work with and work out those ideas. And, that way you're going to be creating great art. And then if you're good at business, that's usually what creative people aren't great at. And so I think that's why if you can find those kind of relationships, they can work really well.
I agree. No, absolutely. You're big on process. In fact, in Atlanta, you gave a talk making iconic logos, and you took us through your creative process. In a nutshell, because I know this is very important for you, could you just kind of give us a brief explanation of your process?
Sure. Specifically, when it comes to logo development, right before I came over to start this chat with you guys, there's been a discussion going on Facebook, and it's been about it's been focused around a couple things. A website where you can go there and you just type in your business name, and then you can pick whatever piece of artwork for your logo, type in your name, and it spits out a file or whatever. And just that whole mentality of logo design. So somebody asked me, well, have you seen this site? What do you think of it? And I had never seen that site before. It's called, let me see, the site is called Logo Joy.
Oh my gosh. I mean, just the name sounds horrible.
And so when I went there, that's exactly what it is. It's kind of like, you remember that little toy oven with the light bulb you could bake stuff in?
Oh yeah.
Like my sister had that, and every time she'd start baking a cake, I would wait till she left the room, and when it was done, I'd go and steal the cake and eat it before she came back. She'd always get mad at me. Okay, now the whole reason I'm getting off on a rabbit trail, the whole reason I'm bringing that up is it's kind of like the way I describe it. When they ask me, well, what do you think about it? I just said it's non-proprietary, pre-baked metaphoric clip art with type. And the problem is a non-existent relationship with the creative pro. And because of that, it facilitates what I would consider stillbirth branding, meaning if there's absolutely no in-depth thinking to that kind of work. It's like low-hanging fruit. Like, especially if they're pre-creating all this stuff. Well, how do you create a logo for a business you don't know?
Exactly.
It's just, I don't know. I just find it very problematic at best, But then we started getting to other aspects of this topic where, 99 Designs. I stopped counting how many times that site has ripped me off, and but last year 2 clients I landed came from 99 Designs because somebody through their crowd surfing service submitted my artwork as their own, won the contest, and then that client started moving forward with it and his identity and stuff, only for somebody to notify me that they were infringing. And I had to talk to them and said, they don't have rights to that art. You have to stop using it. And then that disenfranchises a small business owner in terms of the design community. Well, I thought this was a professional design service and I get scammed like this. So I told that client, this is what you need to do. Go back to 99 Designs, ask for a refund. Then whatever budget that was, I'll agree and work with you with that budget. And that's what we did. We rebranded his business last August. By September of the end of 2016, he said he was already on target to double his revenue the next year because of the rebranding. And all these people have been coming up to him since then saying, did you buy into a national brand? Because everything that we've done for him looks like it's a franchise. And so now he's positioning himself to be able to sell franchises of, his new company. So that's what a designer can do. It's more than just an isolated little logo. That's just part of the greater brand picture. It's about strategy and thinking up methodologies for communicating what he does and engaging the people who are going to interact with him and making it memorable so the next time they need that service or product, they're going to come back to him. And it's not distinctly hard, but you don't get that if you buy something from a pre-baked site.
Sure.
Yeah, totally. And I was just messing around with it right now, and it was kind of funny, just like the step-by-step process they make you do. And it's kind of like, oh, here's just like pick 5 out of 20 typefaces. And then it's like, pick random icons or something that kind of represents you. And it just seemed like, I don't know, like it was funny. Like, what's going on?
My favorite part, you asked me about process, so I'll distill it down to the simplest steps I can. When a company approaches me and they agree to, I share with them what the deliverables would be, the process we use, they approve the budget. Once they do that, I gather in all kinds of information through a creative brief. I'll follow it up with questions. And a lot of the questions I use, I try to solicit them to think in a way they might not have thought of about themselves. Like what do customers say about you that you like or that you don't like? Just getting them to get out of the mode of well, I'll know it when I see it type of mentality, and trying to make it framing everything from a perspective of it's not really what you're going to like, it's what's going to engage your audience. And they don't teach any of this in design school. I've only met one design school. It was an art institute in Schaumburg, Illinois, that actually had a class on, it was like design thinking. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, Saul Bass said, design is thinking made visual. And so it makes sense to take in all this information, and then you have to start making conceptual visual associations in order to come up with something clever and effective. But it really, it just comes down to like solving I always equate logo design with kind of like a mystery. I never know where I'm going to start or where it's going to end, but I kind of like that unknowable factor about it. Yeah. And then you have to balance it with clients who, at some point, they might push for something that isn't the best direction. And so you have to learn how to deal with those things amidst that whole process. And but I enjoy it. So it starts off with information gathering. I don't show clients pencil sketches. The only time I ever do that is if it's an agency with a creative director, because they know potential. They know how to see a rough sketch and visualize where it's going to go. A small business owner, you're asking for problems.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So most of the time I present what I call close to final comps, and it gives them exactly a vision of where this can go and how can it live. And the process is pretty painless, and I've rarely had issues with it. I still have clients who, when it's all said and done, it just comes down to the fact that they just can't make a decision. And, so that happens like maybe once every couple of years, but it's pretty rare. But the creative process is different for everyone. I've kind of learned what works good for me by seeing how other agencies do it. When I work with creative firms, and I'm not doing any of the upfront work. They've done that. They're just hiring me to be a creative hired gun to create a graphic for whatever brand or whatever. And have you heard of the brand Kiwi Shoe Polish?
Yeah.
Okay, so the agency behind that brand is Landor, and they hired me to create the logo mark for the new Kiwi brand. And so I was probably one of 3 or 4 designers they hired to work on this, and I came up with like 4 iterations, and they paid me for my time to do the exploratory work. And then you never know if it's ever going to be used until it's used, and then they'll contact you. So you're always hoping they pick your direction, but they never tell you if they don't. And it was like 8 months after I did that, I get a call back from my art rep, and he said, hey, the landlord is moving ahead with your Kiwi thing, so they're going to buy it out. And I'm going, yeah, that's awesome. But it's like they do all the strategy, and they provided me with a creative brief. So that brief process, that idea of pulling together information and reference and understanding, is all part of the thinking that really makes developing a brand mark and an identity campaign work really well. And I think there's a lot of great logo designers out there, but it's not so deep when it comes to strategy. That's a lot harder to pull off, and especially in context of a small business. When you're working with a national brand, they understand continuity. When you're working with a small business, you can come up with a great logo, but it can be a struggle at times to keep everything, all the continuity intact. I have a small business craft brewer who is just like herding cats, trying to get them to align with the brand aesthetic we established. I go, no. You can't just throw out a label and say, oh, I just thought I'd put this together in Publisher, and just talk to me. Tell me you want this or that, but don't just throw something together and not understand why it's not working well.
I'm smiling right now because I'm going through the same thing right now with one client, so I can totally relate.
Yeah. So on one hand, I'll work with a large agency, and I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I just focus on this creative stuff. And then on the other hand, I have small businesses where I try to do the same thing, but then you have to do all this other stuff that has nothing to do with design. It's all about marketing and communicating, and it gets a little frustrating. But I enjoy it. I like that kind of stuff. So so my process is pretty adaptive based off of the type of client, but I try to simplify it just because I don't like overcomplicated things. Just give you one example and I'll turn it back to you is I was asked to brand a business in Florida, and I was working with the marketing director, and I said, okay, just keep the brief simple. Don't get overcomplicated with it, because he would send me this like PowerPoint file with like 40 pages in it, and just I just go, dude, this doesn't have to be this complicated. And so I'm always trying to get people to distill down information. That said, I don't mind getting a lot of information, but I like the ability to be able to just throw stuff away until, okay, this is the essential stuff we need to focus on. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, so go ahead.
No, that was awesome. That was awesome.
And I know it's kind of a little bit different from the process, but I was one of the, I guess, biggest things, and really what I wanted to talk about too, was like your time at Upper Deck. When I was like 11, 12, I mean, sports cards are just like a huge thing. I collected them. Me and my cousin Aaron, we drew our own cards, like, you know, color pencil, everything. We drew them, cut them out. We put the stats, all of that on there. We even like faked autographs, like it was from a certain player, all of this stuff. And so I guess at your time at Upper Deck, how long did you work there, and what were your favorite projects to work on?
I worked at Upper Deck from 1997 till 2001. And then from 2001 until 2010, I freelanced for them. And then that's when they started having some company issues. But that was one of the funnest places I've ever worked at as an employee. I went from this small boutique design firm with like 8 people, and we had to do everything because we didn't have the luxury of having a big staff, and we worked fast. And then I go to Upper Deck, and they give me this 11 by 17 master schedule printout of an Excel file, and it says, this is when the project starts. Here's all the meetings you have to be at. This is when the project launches. And you have like this month to design a card set. I get it done like in 3 days. And
that's corporate though.
Well, I wasn't trying to be a butt kiss or anything. I was just used to working fast, and because of that, I was on Major League Baseball, and because of that, they said, well, go help NBA out. And then I get that done. Okay, go work on NFL. And so I got to work on all the sports because of that. And then they started throwing me some special assignments. My favorite was probably they bought a bat off of Sotheby's, a Babe Ruth bat, for $25,000. And then they cut it up, and they were going to make these Piece of History was the name of the card. And is a piece of that Babe Ruth bat. And so I had to manage that whole project. And so we got the bat, and it was just cool knowing you're holding the bat that Babe Ruth held. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I'm looking at where the burnt in wood thing, what the stamp or whatever is, there's little notches for home runs he hit with it. And so just being able to stand out in the middle of the room and just take a swing with that was like, I've always loved baseball. So that was like a big highlight for me. But then knowing that they were just going to take this and chop it up into little pieces, I made sure we did a photo shoot to kind of, document the bat. And that bat card was pretty controversial at the time. Yeah. When that happened, that was 1998, I think. And but it was really popular, and the VP liked it so much that he gave me one of the cards, and it's nice, right over on my shelf here in my office. And that was fun. There was another Babe Ruth card where we wanted to take an autograph of Babe Ruth, and obviously he's been dead for almost 100 years. And so what they had to do is they contacted his estate, and we bought a whole, like 1,000 canceled checks with Babe Ruth's autograph on it.
Oh, man.
And so that showed up. That was another project they gave me, and that showed up on my desk. It was like this FedEx envelope. And I open up, there's just a Ziploc bag full of all these canceled checks. So me and like about 5 or 6 other designers are just going through all these, like the day in the life of Babe Ruth. What did he buy? And my favorite one was Park City Liquor Store in New York. It was like 1920 something. For $385 and some odd cents. He bought all this liquor for something. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for back in the days.
Yeah.
I mean, good God, I would love to have been at that party.
Because there's another one where he had a beer and 2 hot dogs for like $1 something.
Oh, man.
That's wild.
Man, that's cool. And what do you think? I mean, as a card like collector too, and over time, you know, we had like autograph cards, game used jerseys, and then of course like the bats, basketballs, all this other stuff. What do you think was kind of like the decline of like sports cards? Do you think it's just like too many of these products that were coming out, or?
Yeah, I think Upper Deck kind of became the gold standard for trading cards back in the day, because Topps was just kind of, they were comfortable with what they had always done, and they weren't innovating like any industry. It's like there were cell phones and smartphones before Apple came, and they just came in and did it better. And that's kind of what Upper Deck did. And so they got a huge following. But then as soon as what the other card companies saw how they were doing it, they just started replicating it. And I kind of started to see that Upper Deck was going to run into some problems, because I go into the marketing director's office and he had all these products up on the wall, but they're the other company's products. And I'm going, well, what are these up here for? Well, I saw these like lunch boxes, and I thought we should do lunch boxes. And I go, why don't we do something else? Yeah. Why don't we come up with a unique idea? And a lot of marketing people, and this is where I really learned a lot about marketing, a lot of marketing directors, they just try to mimic what they think is a proven idea. They don't like innovation because, well, what if it doesn't work? You know, they're all paranoid about that. And so that was the part that was a little unfortunate. There is a lot of waste at that level too, where they would actually give us the marketing budget for a whole set, and it had the cost breakdown of everything. And they have marketing people telling us how to lay out the parent sheets for printing, which they have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And so we look at it and we go, well, if we do this here, and like one set, we cut off like $78,000 in printing costs. And so we go back and we go, well, we can save this much if we set up the parent sheets this way. Whatever. Why don't you cut that in half and give us bonuses then? Whatever. That's like, I'll take that money. Jeez. It's like, so it was a lot of fun working there. I still have a bunch of close friends who, there's a couple that still freelance for them. Another friend of mine, David, he's a art director at Blizzard Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
And he knew a guy at Hasbro, and he's the one that referred me, and I got my Dungeons and Dragons logo through his contact. So
nice.
It's a fun place to work at. I learned a lot about print technology, because when it comes to trading cards, it comes down, if you wanted, back in the day, if you could come up with some new print technology, you could become a millionaire overnight by selling it to a card company, because it would give them an advantage for a certain period of time. So they were always going to these obscure print like conferences and trade shows, looking for some new print methodology that they could integrate. Okay, here's an interesting one. Yeah. They go, okay, could you design a card, because we're thinking of buying shaved ice from the Stanley Cup rink, and then we're going to put it in the car. And I'm going, how are you going to do that? And they go, well, we need a encapsulated thing. We know it's going to turn to water, but we need it to be held in there. And we approached every vendor we could find, and none of the vendors would guarantee that it wouldn't ever leak or ever evaporate.
I was going to say, it would probably evaporate when it's that small of water.
Yes. So they never did anything. I designed the card. It was kind of cool looking, but yeah. This is a fun job. I enjoyed it. Every now and then a sports person would come through. Raleigh Fingers was always there, it seemed. He always came by. I don't know if you know who that is. He's a pitcher. Big handlebar mustache. Reggie Jackson used to come through every now and then.
Oh, cool. Nice, man. It sounds definitely sounds like a fun job. Vaughn, so I feel like picking up a pencil and drawing on a pad is a lost skill these days because of technology. You still draw the old-fashioned way, and I'm just kind of curious. How often do you draw with a pen and with a pencil and pad?
All the time. I don't like using sketchbooks. I get hung up on it's bound. What if I screw up? So I use like notepads like this and draw on them and just rip them off. And I still prefer sketching in analog. That said, Linda asked me to do a course on drawing, but using Illustrator. And I told them it's not really a drawing program. And but in order to do it, I contacted Wacom, and they actually gave me a Wacom Cintiq to do it with. So
nice.
I learned stuff that I didn't know you could do in Illustrator. So you can actually sketch in Illustrator fairly easy once you have the proper tool, in this case of Wacom. But I still prefer sketching just analog and just scanning it in. I like having the tangible, like, drawing you end up with. So I probably won't ever change that. It's always going to be part of my process. As I work through stuff, I'll get to a point and I need to work out shading. I always found it easier just to print something out and draw on top of it to figure out shading. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see me post stuff like that every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely.
But actually, if anybody's, do you want me to share with a new venture that me and my friend Sean launched together?
Yeah, that's a new course that we'll get into here shortly.
Okay.
But real quick, speaking of courses, on lynda.com, you have a relatively new course that just came out last month. Copyright for creatives, protecting your work. That's something that I want to encourage our listeners to sign up. You know, it's funny. Our listeners, you know, they always, Glenn and I were always telling them, you know, you have to educate yourself, you know, if you want to do this business. And we always recommend, you know, sites like lynda.com, and then people complain about the price. I'm telling you right now, I think this course is well worth the price. I just went in there last night and I watched it. It's about copywriting your work and what you can and can't do. And you even have a copyright attorney that you have on that course. Could you go ahead and tell us about that course and just give yourself a plug?
Yeah, Copyright for Creatives is the name of the course. And I just simply go over some of the basics about copyright, what copyright is, what it covers, what it doesn't cover. Originally, it was a talk I gave at the Hell Conference, and what's not in this course that was in the talk was I shot videos of Cole responding to all the questions, and he's a character if you see a picture of him. And they actually edited out something from the course that I was hoping they'd keep in, and that is he tells the story of how he became a copyright attorney. And so he tells a story about a cartoon he did for a contest at a record store when he was in college, and this girl stole his drawing and turned it in as her own. She won it. And
My God, people are just shady.
I know, right? It's a funny story because I don't know. It's cute. The whole story was, but they kind of edited that all out. What are you doing? That's the funny part.
That's a great story. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go to my YouTube channel, I posted the raw video of the, so you can hear everything there. So in the course, it's called Meet Cole Haver, and on my YouTube channel, I have the video Meet Cole Haver, and you hear the whole story, so you can check that out.
Yeah, so definitely invest your money, even for a month, and just check out the course. And now let's talk about your new course. Again, you and I talked in May, and I approached you, Vaughn, and I was like, hey, man, I really like your stuff. And I was like, but people don't want to pay that premium price for lynda.com. I'm like, are you working on something? And you said you are working on something.
Yeah.
And you have some courses that are really, really affordable, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to sign up here as soon as we get off the show. Tell us about it, man.
Well, it's not a course. There's a bunch of different, we call them packages, because when you buy any package, and they range from $3 to $6, there's no subscription, no premium fees. You pay that one flat rate. We like to say it's less than a latte to be inspired is our slogan. And you pay $3, let's say, you get to, you immediately get access to the high definition video. And those tend to be longer than Lynda stuff, because Lynda has, like, they get really upset if I go too long. We don't worry about that. We just want to say everything needs to be said and show everything it needs to be shown. But you get access to all the source files and any secondary things like textures or brushes used in that file. You get all that, and it's basically demystifying the creative process and sharing how we go about creating artwork and design. And we're now starting to talk to other artists. We're going to start bringing in other artists, and they're going to reveal their process for doing everything from hand lettering to illustration to logo design and icon design. So we're going to try to get a lot of different kind of genres in it, even to the point of having a musician do something on editing music. So we're gonna start covering a lot of different things eventually.
Yeah, I was on there today, and there's a lot of good stuff. Again, I'm going to sign up here as soon as we get done. What's the URL?
It's you can just go to peopleloveprocess.com, all spelled out, or you can go to ppluv.com.
And I'll have that in the show notes. And you were nice enough to give us a code where people can get a discount. I mean, I think it's cheap as it is, but we do have a discount code. It's Friends of PPLLUV. Is that all capital letters? Is that case sensitive? Okay, so it's all caps. Again, I'll have that in the show notes. I'm looking forward to it. Glenn, you should sign up too, man. You might learn something there, buddy.
I was already going on here. I was already on top of this.
So one last question before we let you go, Vaughn. Creative Pro Week 2018. I know the schedule's already come out for New Orleans. Are you going to be there?
I don't think they've picked all the speakers yet. They've sent out a general call to submit ideas. So I want to go. I enjoy going to that. It's always fun.
That was a fun one. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to be in East Oregon in a couple of weeks. But maybe I'll try and swing through Salem and Portland. And if you have time, I would love to at least buy you a drink or dinner, man.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Awesome. Glenn, do you have any final questions?
No, I mean, we could talk forever about design and I don't know and everything else.
No,
I mean,
you know what?
Really good interview.
I got a question. What's with all the shoes behind you?
You don't know about Glenn?
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn, go ahead. Tell me.
So I have a YouTube channel, Hustler Hacks, and so I sell different shoes that I find from different stores like Ross and Marshalls and stuff. So I sell it on eBay, and they're ready. Whenever they're sold, they're ready to be packaged, ready to go. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
I thought everyone knew about Glenn.
No, I got a long way to go.
So awesome. Well, hey, Vaughn, I know you're busy. Again, thank you so much. This is no joke, by far, probably the best interview, my favorite episode. Again, Vaughn, you're someone that I look up to, and I respect your work, man. So thank you for your time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, we say this, I swear, we say this almost every episode now. That's the beauty of networking. If I would have never went to that conference in Atlanta, he would have never been on the show today. So again, go out there and network, meet some like-minded individuals, whether it's in person or create a private mastermind group amongst yourselves. And I'm telling you, you guys will learn so much from each other. What do you think of him?
I thought it was awesome. Like I still had like way more questions I think we could have asked. I mean, it went pretty long already, but I don't know. I think it would have been, it just went super smooth, and like it was just like a natural thing, I guess, with like design talk and stuff. And I had like I think I could just probably talk to that guy for a long time with some of these questions.
I mean it got to the point where I didn't even ask him some questions because we were just, our conversation was just, it kept going and going and going, and I just, we had to cut it off at some point. But the guy looks great. I didn't realize he has a 23-year-old daughter. I mean, the guy doesn't look a day over 35.
Yeah. I was really surprised when he told us what he graduated in like 86 or something from college.
Yeah. So Vaughn, hey, you're looking good, man. Other than that, hey, closing comments. Where can people find you, Glenn?
Email me hustlerhacks1 @gmail.com, hustlerhacks on YouTube, and hustlerhacks.com.
Yep, and you guys can find me at geekhustle.com. Also, you can email me at Yong, Y-O-N-G, @geekhustle.com, or you can just join the group. If you have questions, you can tag both me and Glenn. There's other good members within the community inside the group as well. So other than that, 2 more weeks, we'll be in Denver. Glenn,
Yes, sir.
you and I will talk next week, buddy.
Yes, sir. See ya.